This is Professor Toto from the Conservative College, and I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to get in here because I want to teach you something very, very important, but going to give it just maybe 1 minute and then I'll get started. But I want to wish all of you a happy new year. Tonight, when that sun goes down right outside, that will be the first day of the biblical new year. And so there'll be no class tonight, but I'm going to do it Thursday night instead of tonight. But there is some breaking news that I need to deal with quickly. So if everybody would come on in, and if everybody would go ahead, you know the drill, let folks know that I'm on the air right now. How do you do that? Like, love, share, comment, talk to me, get it up the algorithm because I did not announce this class. It's very impromptu. All right. What are we going to talk about real quick? After I got about 200 to 300 emails today asking me to explain the Alien Enemies Act, and why a rogue federal judge, overturned or forbade Donald Trump to deport Venezuelan aliens. I got so many questions about that I figured, you know what? Let me go live before I go to church. I've got to leave for church in about 15 minutes, but I wanted to educate you. First of all, let's all calm down. What have I always taught you? We win in the end. This is nothing but a block, and I'm going to tell you why it will not work. Okay? First of all, we have the lamestream media. I've been watching them all day while cooking, and they're all declaring that this archaic law. Please share, guys. Help me get the word out quickly. As a matter of fact, give me a second. Let me run over to Facebook and let everybody know I'm live right now so we can get a few of our class members in here tonight. Remember, no class tonight because I'm going to be celebrating the new year, but I will be here Thursday night, 7 Central. So the mainstream media is losing their mind because Donald Trump played a chess move on the whole world. And we have breaking news. Putin has agreed to a 30-day ceasefire. Thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you. But they're all losing their mind because Donald Trump found an old, antiquated law. And whoever is on his legal staff, congratulations for getting the power that Donald Trump needed. So the mainstream media is screaming, this law is an old, archaic law from 1776. I'm sorry, no, it's not 1798. And they're screaming it's just an old law that they dug up. Well, here's what they forget. There's a much older law that we still go by today, made in 1776, the Constitution of the United States of America. It's still a relative today. We still go by it. We have another set of laws much older than that, about 4,000 years old. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt honor your father and mother. Remember the Sabbath day. We're still keeping those laws. So the age of the law has nothing to do. If it's a law, it's a law. And there is a law enforced on the books, meaning it is not reviewable. It is not under the jurisdiction of the judiciary. It is the law of the land. It is the law of the land. Therefore, unless it goes back through legislation or to the Supreme Court, it's the law of the land, and no one can stop it. So these rogue judges, these are all Democrat holdovers. They're doing everything they can to stop Donald Trump from doing his job. He is the Chief Executive Officer of the United States of America. Now, what we're going to do right now is we're going to go over the Alien Enemies Act from 1798, and I'm going to show you where the mainstream media is wrong. You need to educate yourself so you can tell all your friends how they're being misled. Here is the voice of truth, and you're about to hear the truth right now. Let's read the actual act itself. Be it enacted by the Senate and the House of Representatives of the United States of America and Congress assembled, that whenever, now I'm going to highlight this first part because this is the only part the mainstream media is reading to you. Whenever there shall be a declared war between the United States and any foreign nation or government. Now that's the part where they stop. A declared war. So the Alien Enemies Act is definitely good during a time of war. But the part they miss is the or, O-R. Let me enlarge that O-R real big so you see it. Or, let me underline that or for you. There we go. Let me change the color of that or. There we go, right there. Now, this is the part the mainstream media misses. Or any invasion or predatory incursion. There is your word of the day. Let's make it bold. Let's change the letter, the color. That's your word for the day. Predatory incursion. And yes, I'm fixing to teach you what a predatory incursion is. If a predatory incursion happens in the United States of America, attempted or threatened against the territory of the United States by any foreign nation like Venezuela or government. It does not have to be their government that declares a war on us. It can be a predatory incursion of people from the nation. The President of the United States of America shall make a public proclamation of the event. All natives, citizens, denizens, or subjects of the hostile nation, if they are males above the age of 14, and they are in the United States, and they are not naturalized citizens, shall be liable to be apprehended. Let me large these for my dumb lawyers out there that don't know how to read. They shall be apprehended, restrained, and secured. And on this one, we need to go bold and we need to change the coloring. Let's go with green. No, I can't see that one too good. Let's go with purple. And removed as alien enemies. All right, let's go back over the qualifications. Predatory incursion that has been attempted or threatened by any nation, the people of any nation, not right there, any foreign nation, Venezuela, not just their government, the people. If they bring a predatory incursion, then the president will remove them. You're looking at the law of the land. And the law continues. I don't have time to read it to you tonight, but you can go read it yourself. Section, there's 5 sections of that. Approved July the 6th, 1798. What? 20 years after the great Constitution that we still abide by today? Please share this, guys. I will not be here tonight. No class tonight, Tuesday, March the 18th. I will be here Thursday night to make up for it at 7 Central. All right, let's talk now. Let me help you understand something. This law, I'm going to say it again. This is the law, and we are a republic, the rule of law. It allows the president to detain, restrain, and deport male aliens 14 years and older that's come here from a hostile nation. And if Venezuela is letting their terrorists come here, that is a hostile nation. This allows U.S. Marshals to carry out the enforcement. Now, what is a predatory incursion? It's very simple. The word predatory implies an action that is exploitative, aggressive, seeking to harm, destroy, or take advantage of a nation. That is predatory. What does incursion mean? A sudden or brief invasion or attack, often unexpected and without formal declaration. Did you hear that? You know what? Let me put that on the screen because you need to be able to show this to your frenemies. Your friends. Watch this. Incursion. Are you ready? Let's highlight this. The word incursion, the very word itself, without a formal declaration. Let's go orange on that. An incursion does not require a formal declaration of war. It's brief, it's unexpected, it's predatory, it causes harm. The law of the land says that the president alone has jurisdiction of a predatory incursion. And this is why Donald Trump declared, when he first was sworn into office, he declared a national emergency against these aliens. This is his right. And when it goes to the Supreme Court, everyone will know I've told you the truth. The Alien Enemies Act allows the president to deport enemy aliens, and it gives him a legal framework for handling non-citizens from hostile nations during conflicts. Now, many on the mainstream media will try to convince you this is only during a war, a declared war. But they are lying to you. Donald Trump studied this long before he was sworn into office, this act. I'm sorry they didn't do their homework and they were not prepared for what he knew. But listen closely when I tell you he knew about this law, this what do they call it? Archaic law. But the problem with archaic laws, just like the 10 Commandments, they're still law. So let's go back and show you some times in the United States when there was no act of war and the president used this archaic law. It was called the Red Scare, 1919, right after World War I. When the war ended in 1918, the U.S. faced rising fears of a communist revolution. And so the government, what did they do? They rounded up every person that had communist ideas, that were suspected communist radicals. They gave them no due process. They gave them no day in court. They were immigrants with socialist or anarchist belief systems. They were deported because of what they believed. They did not have the rights of an American citizen. They were predatory incursion enemies of the state. And that's when Attorney General A. Mitchell Palmer invoked the Alien Enemies Act and the Sedition Act of 1918 and had what's known as the Palmer Raids. Palmer, Palmer raids. Over 500 immigrants including prominent anarchist Emma Goldman, were arrested and deported without constitutional concerns. That was not during war. That was after war. That was during peacetime. Okay? Now let's go to the next one. 1947, the Cold War, the McCarthy era, 1950s. There was widespread fear of Soviet spies, communist sympathizers that had infiltrated the United States. And these aliens, these gang members, that's exactly what they've done. They have infiltrated the United States. So what did we do? We used the Alien Enemies Act to what? Detain suspected Soviet agents and communists. We had laws like the McCarran Internal Security Act, which allowed the government to detain or deport foreigners that were linked to communism. Just linked to it. You got to go. You don't belong here to a freedom-loving people. You're not part of us. You have no rights. And this was after war. This was during peacetime. Now let's go to 9/11. 9/11, during a peacetime, there was no official declared war against the United States with any nation. And yet, we had a war on terror. The Alien Enemies Act was referenced at that time. And what did we do? We declared a state of emergency, just like Donald Trump did when he was inaugurated. And we found anyone in cyber warfare, economic warfare, or terrorism. And what did we do? We did not give them due process at all whatsoever. During the Civil War, 1861, we never declared war on the Confederacy. It was considered a rebellion, not a war. Confederate sympathizers in the North were arrested and deported without due process. Why? You were suspected of being an enemy. Lincoln suspended habeas corpus, violating the Constitution. Why? Because if you rise up, if you bring an incursion, predatory, you have no rights. Now, what about the Pancho Villa raid? Have you heard about that? In Columbus, New Mexico, when the Mexican revolutionary Pancho Villa led a predatory incursion against the United States. What did we do? What did we do? We deported and detained every one of them with no due process. What about the Japanese submarine attack on the U.S. coastline in 1941 before the war was declared? The Alien Enemies Act was invoked after the war declaration and before, leading to the internment of Japanese nationals. What about the 9/11 attacks? Again, keep that in mind. We sent people that were suspected. I could go on and on and on. The mainstream media is wrong. Professor Toto is right. And you'll find out when we hit the Supremes. But let me tell you something else. Not one federal judge in this nation has equal authority to the President of the United States of America. Not one. Remember, these three branches are equal. The Supreme Court is the only court equal to the presidency. So don't worry. Donald Trump knows exactly what he's doing, and this will come to nothing. Now you've heard the best.